Making Dylan heat drum.
We're rolling.
Oh man, welcome back to another episode of Mike and Dylan Hate Drama. Today's episode is going to be a bit different. We are dealing with a lot in my family right now. Me and Dylan's talked about it. It happened this morning. I mean, we're recording. It happened an hour and a half ago. So, my wife's stepfather lives with us. Him and her mom, They live with us. They fell on like some hard times and came to stay with us. So he's been dealing with like a lot of health issues going on with his stomach. So Wednesday he had his gallbladder removed. And then Sunday we have my youngest son's birthday, which Dylan came.
Yep.
It's always fun when me and him are able to hang out outside of this awful place where we make content. So Sunday, he would have been at the birthday party, but when he went to use the bathroom, it was just all blood. And it freaked him out a little bit, so he went to the emergency room. The emergency room told him, not shit, like, go back home. So he goes home. Hey, later that night, he used the bathroom again. It's all blood. So this time he got, like, real freaked out. He went to the hospital. Saturday, they gave him some blood, and I guess it didn't sit right. It didn't, his body started to reject it, so he had a seizure, but he was fine after that. So this morning, he is just in bed, and he gets up to go use the bathroom, and when he uses the bathroom, it's all blood again. So he stands up, and when he stands up, his heart completely stopped, and he died right there. They were able to do CPR on him for 15 minutes and get his vitals back, but I mean, I'm pretty sure after 15 minutes, because they're checking out now to see if he's brain dead. All of his organs are they're not at a good place. It's very, very, it's touch and go now. So, I mean, I'm expecting half-assed during the podcast to get a text or a call from my wife, which, I mean, I do want to explain a little bit without like going too in depth about all of his personal stuff. So, it was back in like 2016. His only son, when he had Crohn's disease, he went in to have surgery on the Crohn's, which it wasn't like a major surgery. It wasn't anything crazy. So while they were doing the surgery, a blood clot went through his heart and it killed him. And that was his youngest son. And I mean, since then, it's just been, for a while there, he went like crazy, which is normal. Any parent that goes through the death of a child, I've seen it firsthand. There's a era where you are just not there. So he was put on like different psychiatric meds, and just he's had a problem with like I don't know what it's called. It's like nitrous or something they put you on for. I don't know. It starts with N, but it's for like your mental health. And he had a problem with like abusing that because he didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for my kids, which he has no biological relationship to, and honestly is a better grandpa than all of their other blood, grandparents. So I've been watching him struggle for so many years, and everybody in the family is just going to be tore up about this. But I'm like, man, like, it doesn't matter what you believe, like, religiously. All right. Best case scenario, he's going to be with his son again. Worst case scenario, he is at peace. Because people are afraid of death. Death should be the thing that you're least afraid of.
Yeah.
Because yes, while your life here is over, and people could say they know what happens after you die till they're blue in the face. They can say, oh man, I know 100%. They don't fucking know because they've not died and they've not came back. So no one's done that. And at the very, very worst of passing away, you no longer have to deal with this world. And I say this, like, people are going to be like, oh, well, kids dying and stuff. I know, I can't stop fucking with it. They're going to be like, with the child dying, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
It's everybody's. That's the thing that people don't like to see is when children die, because they never got really a shot at life. But when you like peel back the layers and stuff, life's fucking hard, man. It is rough. It is. Even as an because I'm fucking optimistic as fuck. Like, I mean, I get down and I get sad, but normally I'm very, very optimistic about things. And to, take any kind of bright spot from it, and that sounds atrocious, like to say, but to take any kind of bright spot is like, they don't have to deal with the the shit. Like they don't have to wake up every day. You know, everyone's existence. And there are some people, you know, that were born to like billionaire parents and they've not had a struggle in their fucking life. And that's cool. That comes with its own set of problems. And
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't think that anybody really comes, like, there's going to be good situations in life where you don't deal with the certain struggles, but, you know, in that situation, there are also other things that might fuck up their mental health and and so it's just you can't really judge anybody on having an easy life because you don't know what other things, you know, it could be a shit parent, it could be an abusive, like not physically abusive, but mentally abusive.
Well, it's harder to find happiness in life when you have everything. Yeah. Like when you have everything, what do you, I mean, there's no accomplishment that you can now do.
No challenge.
Where anybody will take you seriously. It doesn't matter what the fuck you do.
Yeah.
You had money to do it. Like it's that. And I'm not fucking sitting here, like we're not sitting here, you know, saying don't be mean to rich people.
No.
Comparatively, like with their struggles, and I don't like people comparing struggles, okay? But comparatively, their struggles are a lot easier than our struggles. But still, a struggle is a struggle. And to you know, avoid just the hardship, because it's all hard, man. And you have to have that mindset of to find the happy moments in it.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's really tough, man. Especially if you see how, you know, mental health is in America right now. I mean, we're dealing with an epidemic of young people killing themselves. And it's just, you know, mass shootings every fucking day. And people will be like, well, it's guns. You look over at the UK, they don't got guns and bad shit happens because we focus so much on the things that don't matter. Like I don't know. It's a lot of shit that doesn't matter. And we neglect the things that do matter. I can't sit here and tell people what, you know, has caused the mental health decline, whether it be the internet, which I do believe is a big part.
I think the internet and like, I mean, just like video games are so much more like realistic and stuff. And kids growing up with that mental image of like, oh, I just shoot all these people.
I don't think that's a thing.
Like, I don't think that it's not a thing though. Right. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that's the sole cause, but like people's idea of reality is based upon the digital world altogether. So social media, movies, TV, video games, like the actuality of like taking somebody's life. Like, I mean, that's one thing that I have to say about like people that eat meat. They're like, oh, I can't see something that looks like look at the animal that it was. Well, then you shouldn't eat meat. Like those are those types of disconnection from the actual natural world that make it so when kids without a fully formed brain decide that they're going to go kill somebody, they just do it and they don't really understand the weight and the gravity of what that actually means. Right. And so they make decisions that are disconnected from the real world. They haven't killed an animal, most likely. They haven't actually taken a life in any way to like eat. So it's a disconnection from the natural world. And
so I think the Columbine shooters, they played Doom a lot. Yeah. It was like a game or something like that. And then it was like for like most because they did like a study in it because they were trying to do the whole big correlation of video games to violence, and it was like one out of it was right around like 2005 or something like that when the big arguments were happening. Because shout out to Rockstar Games, they knew how to market their fucking games because they were the ones that created the bad press around Grand Theft Auto. Mm-hmm. That's hilarious. So everybody would talk about it and all the young people would want to play it. But yeah, not a lot of people who commit like mass murders have ever played video games or play video games. And I think actually video games is like the opposite, because you see a lot of people who play video games religiously. Those people 9 times out of 10 are more happy. Like they have just an escape from reality. And that's a beautiful thing, man, to be able to escape from reality. It's a great hobby. I do think that people need to like, just like calm the fuck down on like shitting on people. I don't play a lot of video games
anymore.
Well, really, I've not ever really played a lot of video games, but I want to. I just get shit on for it. But I do think that, you know, it should be viewed as, you know, something good. Like it is. Like if a guy gets, of course you have to be a spouse, a good spouse, and help out in a relationship and help out with your kids, man. But if a guy gets home, he ain't got shit to do and he fucking throws on a video game, man, just let the guy relax. Because especially working a 9 to 5, man, you're dealing with bullshit all day. Fucking restrained outside of any normal capacity that a human should be restrained in. Just let them have their fucking escape.
Yeah.
And then also too, I do want to point out that Mike being like, yeah, like death is kind of like a beautiful, I am not suicidal. Like, I'm not just going to, like, Mike's not sitting here all sad and shit and just like, let me think about it. It's just, it's like I said, it's an optimistic point of view about literally the scariest thing that a person will experience in their life.
Well, and I think that's the hard part.
I about moved it again, but I stopped myself.
You need to move it closer if you're going to move in any direction.
That good? Oh, and by the way, did you see the comment of the guy being like, stop interrupting Dylan, man?
Yeah.
I wanted to yell at you.
I saw you, you took a minute when I was finishing my thought. You're like, okay, let me just wait just 1 second.
I try.
But I think, because I view death the same way, but like, I mean, I've also done psychedelics and I've looked into religion and death and all these other things to form my view of it. But that's one of the reasons why, like, right now we're close to having to put my dog down, and he's getting snippy with the kids.
Same struggle. We're going through the same thing. No. Oh yeah, absolutely. Dylan's comparing the death of his dog who's still alive.
I'm giving the explanation of how my
you know exactly what my family's going through right now, bud.
Well, my dad did just go through double bypass surgery, and he's dealing with his own.
Made it through like a champ, bro. His dad's like the coolest. Fucking,
he's a cool dude.
God, I wish I had a dad. Just any of them. Like, how abusive one would have been fine.
But yeah, no, I hit the lottery with my parents. They're the greatest. But like, and so like I would talk about that, but that's his personal thing. We've had talks about it,
right.
and like me and him have talked about death since I was in my teens. It's one of those things where it's not been something we don't talk about, and I think that's another problem is people avoid the discussion of death and being comfortable with it. But what I was getting at was that in all of the religions and all the other things, like that's part of the reason they exist at all, is to try and help people become okay with that passing. And like, okay, back to the point, because now I understand where I was at before you were criticizing me.
Playfully joking with my pal.
Yeah.
Okay. Criticizing sounds terrible.
So we have to put my dog down, and it's a situation where I don't want my kids to get hurt because he's old and he's getting more ornery and like snipped at a couple of us. And so I want to avoid my daughter having trauma of like being bit by the dog. So it's his time. Right. He's 14 years old. He's the oldest dog I've ever had. And my wife is like all bent out of shape about it. And I'm like, he's had 14 great years. He's enjoyed his life. Like, and he's still healthy enough that, you're going to be sad about it. He's not like, we have to carry him outside to go to the bathroom. But I think that's like undignified to take a dog to that level because you're going to miss them. And,
right.
And so like Jess is like all kinds of bent out of shape about it. And I'm just trying to explain to her that like, okay, you've got say a week, you're going to put him down. Spend that time just loving the fuck out of him.
Right.
Make that last week the best week you can make it.
I'm getting more sad about a dog dying right now. Like, I'm just like, ah. And like, I do, I like him. I'm not going to say his name on the podcast out of respect. I like him. There's never been, it's just like me and Death Man have always just not, like, the biggest passing I've really had was an uncle. Like I said, the closest people in my life aren't really that close to me.
Yeah.
So if it's not my wife and my children, I'm probably not going to cry about it. Now, this one might get me though, because literally my middle son was telling me last night, and that like he loves his grandpa. That's his guy. Like he's a papa's boy.
Yeah.
And that's hard for a dad to say, that a son is a papa's boy. And just the fact that that's just going to be so rough for him. That's what gets me. And fuck, I don't know if I'm capable of that. That's the shitty thing about being a parent too, is it doesn't matter if you're capable or not. Gotta fucking do it. Like, yeah. And to get him through that just the best way possible. But we've talked about death and stuff. So I think this is a good time for the podcast to go off the rails, because I'm gonna tell people a theory that I've always thought for a long time. So I've said, a little bit about like my religious views is that, he's there. He's not going to intervene in your life. There's no miracles happening, because if you do a miracle, if you save somebody from some situation that they, probably got themselves in, that is not free will. But also, I think that this is the bad place. Like, and it sounds really, I don't know, maybe it's cliche to say, I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but to tell me, to sit there and say, hey, if you live your life inappropriately, if you know, if you have sex with a girl before marriage, if you know, covet thy neighbor's ass, whatever that means. I mean, if my neighbor's got a big old ass, like, what am I supposed to do? Just be like, hey, bro, we should work out together. Look at that, another gay joke. I gotta put the fuel in the gay Mike fire. But to tell me that, you know, the ultimate punishment is burning in a lake of fire, when on Earth you can watch your child slowly die of cancer, doesn't compute. Because how can you go through something that is more painful? Because I guarantee you go into any place where, you know, there's terminally sick kids, and you go up to a parent and say, hey, you know, your child will be okay if you just burn in a lake of fire for all of eternity. They take that deal right there. Done. That's it. Not even a second thought. So to tell me that there's a place other than this where there's a ultimate punishment that's not as bad, and then people are they're gonna be like, well, when they die they get to, you know, go to heaven and everything's all happy, and it doesn't compute. You know, there's a lot of holes in the story and the theory, because once you say, hey, like, honestly, I think the stories are here for people to poke holes in, like, there being a creator. I don't believe that, you know, the Big Bang Theory makes sense. It was, especially with a lot of scientists coming out today saying, we don't fucking know. I just think there's a lot of holes in the theory, and what better to, like, say, hey, you know, there is an afterlife. You want to disprove that there's an afterlife? Well, we'll give you the story about it that has, you know, as many holes as Swiss cheese, and you got to believe this, or you're going to burn in hell. And then you give people something to prove. If you say, hey, you know, there's a creator, you know, we came from something that's timeless and fucking, just, it doesn't, a deity that doesn't fucking conform to, you know, physics and time. Which is so funny too when people bring up science to, like, disprove a creator. And I was like, yeah, that's really crazy if that's what it takes to make a fucking universe work. Have you ever made a universe? So my theory is that, all right, if, you know, there's an afterlife, obviously it's paradise, or however we view it. It is paradise. The thing about paradise is, though, if you come from a state of constant paradise, you don't fucking know that's paradise. You won't. It doesn't matter who you are, how good of a place is. If you've and it's kind of like what we talked about with rich people. If you've always had it good, then good's not good anymore. And maybe this is a place where we come to be like, fuck, this sucks. Like, this sucks. So we get back to that place. Or maybe, you know, we fucked up and this is the place where we come to just, you know, spend 100 years and be like, this sucks. And then we go back and fucking, but it just, to tell me that, like, you die and then you feel nothing, people were like, well, you were born and you feel nothing. I'd be like, well, they kind of ruin it. If you were born with all the, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do all this differently, I'm gonna invest in Bitcoin. That's what I would do, man. Fucking give me a time machine.
Well, I think that's the hard part with any of these discussions, though, is, like, nobody knows for certain any of it. And so my view on life in general is make the best of it. Like, I mean, you can make the worst of it, which a lot of people decide to do. They want to see the negative and everything and want to just be like, oh man, this is tough. And, like, but those moments where, like, you meet your wife, where you get to spend time with your kids, like, those are literally, like, and I always thought that, you know, back in my teens and 20s, like, partying was fun and, like, all these friends and all that stuff. And until I had my kids and married my wife, like, I was like, holy shit, like, this is, like, drug-free, like, the best fucking buzz I could ever have.
I'm not wasting all my time now, too.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's really easy to look at it and be like, man, I gotta, you know, do all this stuff to take care of my family. And it is hard, but it's some of the most fulfilling things that you've ever done. Like, it is those challenges. Like, so yeah, you're talking about, like, billionaires and stuff. If they actually give a shit about their family and their kids, those struggles are still there, and so they can still find joy and, like, fulfillment.
Right, like, how do I make you not just a serial killer?
Yes.
Essentially, like, how do I make it where you don't go to Diddy parties?
Yes.
Because, I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, it's so weird that, and I guess this is, like, one of the problems with being rich, though, is that, I mean, nothing makes you have feelings, so you start doing weird, nasty fucking shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's
and you can push those boundaries because nobody's checking them. Like,
right, and y'all can feel safe, though, if I ever get rich, though, because I spent 32 years being just god awful poor. So I have a long time to enjoy it before I would be like, oh, kids. I don't know why all of them do that too. They're just be like, you know what? I have all the money in the world. I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna get a couple children.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, is, like, there's that weird affliction. your grandpa had it, and he was not a rich person, and like, so it's one of those things where like people are just fucked, like and I don't get why. I don't understand
Yeah,
the psychology
I don't think it
behind
just,
it.
it's at a poverty line.
Yeah, and it's just the rich do have a way of getting out of things. They have money, they have power, so they can do things that, like, if your grandpa had all the money in the world and could buy off some
Oh, he would have had Island.
officials, like,
He would have had Pop. I would have called it Pawpaw Island.
yeah,
Yeah, but they'd be like, "Oh, you like Pawpaw Island?" I'm like, no,
no, not
no,
fun at all.
no. I mean, it's cool. Like, there's like water slides and stuff like that. It's just like the pinky in your butt at the end of the day. I'm just like, why is that admission into the water park? I don't understand. But I don't know. It's so many weird things you think about, and I feel like this is a weird podcast too because it's hard to be funny.
I think it is, but everybody goes through this, and you are funny when you talk about anything. But like, everybody's gonna go through this at some point in their life because
We got to get Joe Rogan.
everybody dies. One thing that I wanted to suggest to you, and I don't know if you've watched it already, but there's the Midnight Gospel on Netflix. It's like a animated, it's actually a podcast, and then they kind of wrote stories around it and then animated it. And the last episode deals with like his mother dying, and he had his mother on the podcast, and they sat there and talked. Well, I don't think he like had her on the podcast. I think they just recorded a conversation. But like, when I watched that, like, I mean, it was heartbreaking and also like relieving at the same time. Like, it kind of, no theory is 100% correct, but there's a million ways to look at death. And,
Right.
you know, the saddest one is, you know, we die and nothing happens. But also, that isn't sad because the person that is going through that suffering no longer has to go through that suffering. So,
I mean, there's a lot of cultures that don't view death as a bad thing. And I think a big reason to why we have so much media and shit thrown at us to say, hey, death is a bad thing. So you better go to work for 8 hours. You better do everything that you're supposed to do. Don't take any fucking risks. You know what I'm saying?
don't enjoy your life.
Right. If someone's holding you down, don't oppress, or like if somebody's oppressing you, don't fight back because you might die. And that's super spooky. I do think that's why death is such a big thing in life now, especially in fucking, first world countries where there's fucking, tribes that they're just like, yeah, they went on, man. Like, fucking, or they look at it in a more beautiful way where everybody, I mean, you can't say this like with fucking like a mass shooting, 30 people die. You can't be like, oh, they've all went and it's very beautiful. No, you can't do that. There's tragedy and, lives taken and everything. And, but I think in a lot of circumstances like this, especially the circumstances around like someone's passing away, like, him losing a son, it's been so hard for him to deal with it. And now it's like worst case scenario is he won't feel any pain physically or mentally, with the loss of a son or the health problems. And low key, I don't want people to be like, oh, Mike, you're so heartless. But low key, that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That I cannot at all explain to my son. Like, I can't tell my son like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think
like, we should be happy Papa died because now, and he's just like, whoa, what the fuck, bro? Like, Dad's a fucking
monster.
Yeah, I would have to like work him into the conversation.
Well, I think that's what religion tries to do, is say that, oh, guaranteed he was a good person. He, accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior. And so he's off sitting at the right-hand side of Jesus right now. Like,
I've been to so many funerals where he was a man of God. And I was like, did y'all know him?
Yeah.
Did y'all hang out with it? Like, my uncle died. They had this he was a man of God. There was like 16 women there who had slept with bro. Like, he was like, he was a free spirit, man. And
he wasn't a player.
Yeah, he was great too. He had definitely had some trauma from, his childhood, and that had a lot to do with the lifestyle that he lived. Drank a lot of beer, and my cousin obviously has had a hard time dealing with his passing. And, like, she was like, because she would always bring up, he wasn't perfect as a dad, to like try to make me feel better about it. And I'm like, listen, I saw, everything, where he came from and, what he could have been. Because any dad that likes just, fucking bitches and drinking beer usually just don't stay around the kids at all. Yeah. So he, tried to what I believe was the best of his ability to be a father. It's like, why I don't give my mom so much hell, because the shit that she went through, literally, if others went through it, you would not be where you're at. Like that is some fucking that shit will make you fold. Like that's rough shit.
It'll take out people.
Right? Yeah. It'll fucking take you out, and to get through that, and to be a because it wasn't like my mom was just like bad all the time. She was a very uplifting mom. She never worked. Slept a lot, like I said. She had her flaws, but she was a very uplifting mom. She wasn't the type that was like, the world is shit. She always told me that I could be something. She always, fed into that when I was like, I want to do this. The biggest thing when I was a kid was I wanted to be an architect. And I always told my mom I'd build her a house made of gold. That was a thing that we always talked about when I was a kid. And then as I got into like middle school and high school, I was wanting to be a lawyer, but I was also starting to like fuck up and shit like that. So I was by the time senior year was coming, I was like, Mom, the Wendy's is like the best that you're going to get from me. So I told you about the golden house. I'm gonna be working at Wendy's.
See, that's the wild thing. Is like I did not want to be in architecture, but I had no path. Like I was completely lost when I was graduating, and one of my friends was going into architecture, and I was like, yeah, I know how to do drafting. I'll just go that
fucking hang out together.
And then I think I don't want to blame it all on Click, but Click was one of those like defining moments where I was just like,
I was about to talk about Click earlier.
Yeah.
Bro, like when you were talking about how sad that documentary is, and I was like, that's good you told me, because then I'll go in thinking that it's sad, so then I won't get sad, because I'll be like, this is like, it's like seeing the horror movie Monster.
Are you talking about Midnight Gospel?
Yeah.
No, it's not sad.
Yeah, but he was like, it's like heart.
The last episode.
Right, yeah. But you know how like the monster in a horror movie, if you show it, people will be like, that's not as scary as I thought it was. Like, yeah. Well, Blair Witch is so scary. That's kind of how it is with me with when someone's like, this movie's really, really sad. And then I see the sad and I'm like, this is not as sad as my brain thought that this could possibly be sad. Click.
Nailed it.
Fucks me up every time,
That's
bro.
a scary movie. That is legit a scary movie.
Man, when he is doing the thing for his father, I'm just like, I'm sitting there. That one fucked me up. Coco fucked me up. I wasn't expecting that in Coco. When fucking she remembers her dad. Mm-hmm. They start singing about him, and then she starts talking about her father. And, oh man, look, I'm getting choked up a little bit. Coco, man.
Yeah, no, that one's great just because like the whole movie, you're kind of like, that guy was a fuck up, and he thinks he was a shit dad, and like,
right.
But he still loves his daughter. And then like as it goes on, you're like, oh shit, like no, he was just trying to do the best he could for his family, and then he was like literally
murdered,
gonna go ahead and go home and say fuck you to the tour and everything, and homie couldn't take it and took him out.
But no, Onward got me too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Onward was great too. But like, I think the thing with Click is like I should watch it again because I think it's especially with social media and staying on our phones and all that stuff. It's one of those things where we're like fast forwarding life. Like we are missing a lot of the key moments that if you wiped everything away, TV, social media, all that other stuff, like how much time would you be spending with your kids like outside and playing and doing all the things that like really ultimately is going to define their future? But right now it's so easy to just fast forward.
And even if like, you want, like you're okay with your kids being on technology, be on technology with them, man. They ain't going, like I said, me and the kids, this morning we spent playing Grow a Garden and Roblox. My garden's fucking dope, bro. And like I'll be showing these kids what money can do because I don't do that shit. They got time to grind. I ain't got time to grind in a video game. Like I can't be getting all this equipment. They'll be like, how'd you get that? And I'll be like, it was like a new thing they give new players. Too bad you're not a new player anymore because they would have gave you all that. And they're like, fuck, man, that's real good. I'm like, yeah, admire it. But yeah, we do miss a lot of shit. I don't know, man. It's hard. It's just so hard being which today I'm actually making content. I haven't told you about this yet. So I was watching a video Saturday night where and it starts off with one of these ladies that is outside of a house. She's done her own research. Okay. So she knows, and she's warning the public, okay, about how dangerous puddle jumpers are. This shit had like over 1 million likes. So I don't even know how many views it had, but she was talking about like how puddle jumpers are dangerous because the way it holds a child and like they're susceptible to drowning and shit like that. And I'm like, my kids I love puddle jumpers.
What is a puddle jumper?
So it's like, it goes on your arms. It's like a vest. Okay. And so it's essentially a life jacket, but it goes around your arms like floaties does, and then it has this middle thing that floats too, and then it connects in the back. And she was talking about some dumb shit about how it's designed will make you go underwater, and I'm like, bro, Puddle jumpers have never caused a child to drown, ever. There's not a device that has ever been made that has caused a child to drown. Do you know why children drowned? Because of unattentive parents. That's it. That's all it is at the end of the day. If your child drowns in some kind of flotation device, that is because a parent put them in there and was like, oh, I can step away now. Or I can talk to this person. I could be on my phone. Water is one of the biggest killers on earth. Water is fucking dangerous. If you are at a body of water, there is nothing that anybody can invent. They can invent the safest fucking thing to be on water. If you are not paying attention, a child is a thinking little gremlin, man, that is always trying to get out of shit, trying to fucking move, trying to, pull shit off. The only thing they could invent to circumvent children dying or, drowning in a flotation device is something for the parents to be more fucking attentive to them.
See, and I agree that it is the attentiveness, but that you're talking about a little gremlin that can open a door and go out to a pool. That's one of the reasons why we don't put any floaties on my daughter, is because, if you give them the false sense of security that they can swim and then they break out or they break free, it only takes moments for a kid to drown.
Right.
And so if they think that they can get in the water and float, but they haven't been trained on how to swim, that's one of the things with the infant swimming classes and stuff, which, once again, I think it's kind of traumatic. I mean, I imagine it works well for some kids, but basically they're threatening a kid with drowning to get them to learn how to swim, which is great if you have a pool and you really need that. But with my daughter, I want to just teach her how to swim. She's getting older and getting to the point where she can swim. But if we had a pool and we had her in floaties, and so she thinks she can swim, even though she's not able to swim without the floaties on, it just creates that false sense of security. So they'll go and run and jump into a pool, and it only takes moments before that kid's gone. And so,
right.
I agree. It's ultimately all on the parents to make sure that you're watching your kid and having the safeguards in place. But those moments can happen like that. And so I'm not saying that those things caused any drowning or anything like that, but giving a kid the ability to think that they can swim when they can't swim is dangerous as well.
I don't know why you would tell. This more applies to children that are not of the, associating a, you know what I'm saying? They're not talking to you about fucking deep shit and stuff like that. Because like I said, all my kids used puddle jumpers, and then I teach them how to swim. Yeah. So we're going right through that right now with my middle son. The only thing is you've seen him, he has no fat on his body at all, which makes you're less buoyant. So you just fucking sink. But, unfortunately there was a lady on TikTok whose child, I guess, went through the back door or some shit and jumped to the swimming pool and passed away. And it's very, very sad. But I understand it's sad and it's unfortunate, and you can give encouraging words, but don't fucking get, I've seen so many videos of the parents, a photo of them, and then it's the Robin Williams, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Then whose fucking fault is it? The kids? Yeah, fucking that was his fault. That little 3-year-old just fucking ran out. It's just, that doesn't compute with me. I understand being a parent is hard. There's times where you're tired, but fucking giving leeway on that is the same as giving leeway on leaving a kid in a hot car. If there's a part of you that thinks, oh man, I'm gonna be too tired at any point to make sure that this fucking being right here is anything but okay, don't have kids. Don't have kids. If she's saying puddle jumpers kill people would be the same as me saying, well, because my kid doesn't say, hey, check your back seat for your child, which cars do now because people have kids that should not have kids. But it says then Kia killed my kid because I left it in the car. Why didn't they come out with kids out here killing children because they're not putting to check your back seat? I love the one that's put your shoe in the back seat so you don't forget your kid, because then you only have one shoe on.
Who's going to remember to put their shoe in?
Well, that's my kid, man, but my Jordan's in the fucking back seat, bro. I can't leave my Jordan there.
But if you're not going to remember your kid, you're not going to remember to take your shoe off and put it in the back seat. That also takes mental processing. So
I watched a documentary about this preacher, and he had left his child in the back seat. And the child had passed away. And he was like, I'm just, I'm using it as a positive thing. I'm like, you should be in prison. You should not, This should not be a positive thing for anybody. a child has no say-so in its life. All right. For one, didn't ask to be here. Okay. Can't fucking defend itself, take care of itself, look after itself, do nothing. Not safe at all. The parent is solely responsible for the child getting through. So I'll give you a good example. We were at the lake on Sunday after the birthday party, which was kind of cold. And like I said, middle child made a whole fit about it. But my daughter, she has asthma. So she was like, oh, I need my inhaler. And I was like, oh, it's in the car. I have to go get it. So we all got to get out of the water. And she was like, oh, I'll just watch him. He's in a puddle jumper too. And I was like, no, what? No. And she was like, well, can't we play in the shallow part? No, because like I said, if shit goes wrong, there's one motherfucker I can rely on to handle shit. That's me. Yeah. I'm not putting that responsibility in another person's hands. My kids are not allowed to go swimming without me. That's like I said, I would be more comfortable with them going to an amusement park without me than going to a body of water. Like people just don't understand. Water is, seen as this thing of fun. And that is a problem with like little kids because they see water, they just want to jump in. Like if a little kid goes missing, that's the first thing you do is go check the lakes, go fucking guard the lakes because that's where the fuck they're going to. Every time there's a little kid missing, unfortunately, they're found in a body of water. And that's because like everybody, water's so water is like the deadliest fuck. People talk about deadly substances, acid, all this crazy shit, toxic. Water is fucking dangerous. Like it is dangerous. But I don't know.
Did they have a lifeguard at that swimming hole that you guys go to?
No
lifeguard.
Both of them have no lifeguard on. Dude, it's a lake.
Well, yeah, but
I guess during the summertime they might have one out there, like when it's like real deep in summer.
So it's free. You just go there and go swimming.
No, yeah. It's 24 hours too.
24 hours.
Yeah,
you can go swimming anytime.
Just go fucking swimming.
Oh, that's wild.
I love a lake. Amy's like, ooh. I'm like, well,
so we've got a membership.
Scared of lake water getting on you, kitty? Go into a fucking public swimming pool and have that shit fried by the chlorine and kid pee and shit.
Well, that's one of the things I was telling Mike about it.
Blew my mind.
Is Mark Rober did a episode on why pools smell the way that they do, and it technically, if there's just chlorine in the water, until you add urine, it does not smell like a normal pool. But the second that you add urine to that pool water, then it smells like chlorine and smells like a pool. So technically, without any urine in the water, the pool does not smell like the pool.
That's wild, man, because they all smell like real bad chlorine to me, man. So that means they're just. But I mean, when I get in the lake, that's like the first thing I do.
Just pee in the lake.
Yeah, I'll even joke around with the kids. Like, you guys want to feel a warm spot right here. Now, when we're in the lake too, so I won't take 3 kids if it's just me. If it's me and Amy, we'll take all 3 kids. But I'll have both of them, and we can be kind of apart. Kind of like, middle son's still in the puddle jumper, and which I tell my daughter, I'm like, you have to be, because she can swim, but you have to be where you can stand if I'm dealing with him, because if you go underwater in a lake, I cannot see you. Well, we went through like the whole like drowning protocol and stuff like that. If you're drowning, the first thing you do, if you can get your head above water, is scream as loud as you can. That's it. Just scream as loud as you. Don't be worried about saying help or anything like that. Now, if there's something wrong and you can't scream and you're at a part where you can feel the bottom and you can stick your hands out of the water, because it's just in the ocean, it's really hard to see you too.
Yeah.
What's so funny, and it's not funny. Like I said, none of this stuff is funny, and I'm not being like, oh, I'm saying fucking be accountable, man. Like these little kids our lives are in their hands. If something happens to them, they're in no way, shape, or form can we say, like, there's freak things that happen. There are, which, is why we get warning labels on stuff, because we didn't see that as a thing. But now we got the warning labels and shit. Everything, you should be able to see shit coming. But when we took my daughter to the first time to the beach, mm-hmm. She's 2 years old, and she had we had her on a leash. Because, Listen, like I said, at the ocean, especially at Myrtle Beach, which there was a mass shooting there on like Saturday or Sunday. Well, fun fact, not so fun fact. But we had her on a leash because if you get hit with a wave, like you can't see
you get
you get pulled too. So it's impossible to tell. And like we had, her on a leash. I'm like, we look so
On
corny.
her arm?
Yeah. And it was probably towards the end of summer. A little child was walking with her mom and got hit with a wave and passed away. And I was just like, bro, I'd much rather look corny than have a dead kid.
Oh, yeah.
So every day of the week. Every day of the week. So this is going to be a rough episode to get through, especially if you don't like talking about, death and dying. And I'm sorry I gave this warning at the end and you just have to listen through all of it. But next episode, we'll continue with our hopefully, regular, funny,
lighthearted, not so
not
deep.
so deep. And let us know what you think about the deep stuff. Also, guys, huge help if you're not subscribed to whatever platform that you view us on. If you subscribe, that helps out tremendously and helps us know how many people are listening. Also, give us a rate. Tell us how bad we're doing. Maybe talk about how fat I am. I don't care. Look, the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster. And I think this is a good time to sign off, don't you?
Yep.
All right, guys, we will see you next time.
Later.